presentation is a collaboration between James Chowan, Sarah Mann, Gordon Cook, Kelly McDonald, and the Workforce Planning Boards, and will provide an analysis of the Employer One survey data collected in 2018, with a comparison to the 2015, 2016, and 2017 data. Given that this is the fourth presentation in the series, we would recommend that you view the videos from the previous years prior to watching this video to better understand the background of this project and to better understand the analysis and the comparison presented in this video. As a reminder, while each of the workforce planning boards conducted analysis of their own region, our research was able to aggregate all of the data from all of the regions and analyze at an aggregate level. Our research also allowed us to examine the mean of the entire dataset and determine which regions were above and below this benchmark for each variable of interest. Our analysis also provided an opportunity to highlight which findings were statistically significant, as well as the difference between those findings that were substantially versus statistically significant. A significant amount of time was spent cleaning the data to ensure that all missing data were treated consistently. Locally generated results may vary if missing data are treated differently, which can result in comparisons between regions being imprecise. In other words, while each region conducted their own analysis, some regions included organizations with missing questions, while others discarded entire organizations with missing questions, thus making it difficult to make comparisons across regions using their own individual analyses. Therefore, we were able to provide comparisons across regions with our aggregate analysis by treating all missing data consistently. The purpose of this video is twofold. First, to present the 2018 data analysis, but also to present the comparison between the 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018 data. The next two slides present the descriptive statistics for the number of respondents by region and by industry. Throughout this video, we will go through the slides quickly, keeping in mind that you can pause the video at any time to view a slide in more detail. Participation in the survey overall is up, with all but two regions reporting an increase in their sample size and an overall increase in participation of 12% over 2017. Out of 20 industries participating in the study, all but 6 show an increase in sample size. The next slide shows a comparison of key variables and the change from 2015 to 16 to 17 to 18. It is important to point out that the differences may not be entirely due to changes in outcomes, but rather the changes in sample composition could be contributing to the observed differences. For example, if smaller organizations, in terms of number of employees, replied to the survey in 2018 compared to the other years, this could be the main contributor to why the mean total number of employees declined over the period. Thus, it may not be the case that organizations are hiring less, but rather that the sample is made up of smaller organizations who hire less. It should be noted that over the 4-year period, companies who hire or are planning to hire have stayed consistent, and the use of recruitment agencies for this task, which had been rising from 2015 through to 2017, has fallen off in 2018 back to the 2016 level. On a good note, 2018 showed a distinct drop in separations to its lowest level in the 4 years of the study. Companies who found positions hard to fill had been falling through 2017, but we saw a sharp increase in 2018. Interestingly, this sharp increase in hard to fill coincides with an increase in willingness to provide training in 2018. The next 7 slides present the 2015, 16, 17, and 18 results for each key variable by region. Again, we are going to go through these slides quickly, but you can pause the video at any time to view these slides in more detail. The numbers are presented in both a table and a graph format on each slide. In order to understand how to interpret these results, it's recommended to watch the 2015 video posted on the website. As a quick reminder, if we look at the slide in separations, in 2018, 60% of organizations experienced separations, the lowest this number has been in the 4 years of the study. The percentages are also presented by region, and Chatham-Kent showed that 33% of organizations experienced separations, while in Waterloo-Wellington-Dufferin, 76% of organizations experienced separations in 2018. Going deeper into the data shows some interesting trends. For example, Chatham-Kent, which above, showed a large drop in separations from 66% in 2017 to 33% of organizations in 2018. Also shows a significant increase in companies who provided training, from 40% in 2017 to 68% in 2018. The next 7 slides show each variable by industry by year. Again, some interesting information can be gleaned from the data on industries, with the most obvious one being the ongoing decrease in the size of organizations from 2015 to 2018, and specifically in several industries, indicating either a fragmentation of the industry or a large increase in the number of participants who reported smaller size of organization. Again, please feel free to pause the video if you want to view any of these slides in more detail. This chart provides the correlations between the variables of interest and the change in correlations from each year. For example, in 2018, there is a correlation of 0.42 between planning to hire and finding positions hard to fill. This positive and significant correlation demonstrates that organizations who are planning to hire are also likely to find those positions hard to fill. And that correlation has increased from 0.22 in 2015 to 0.34 the next year, 0.36 in 2017, and then to 0.42 in 2018. Arrows in any given cell demonstrate a consistent trend over the 4-year period. There are some very interesting findings on this slide. For example, if we look at the first column, we can conclude that the larger the organization, the more likely they are to experience more separations, hire more, use a recruitment agency, find positions hard to fill, plan to hire more, and are offering higher levels of training. Also of note is that organizations who are experiencing more separations are also increasingly likely to find positions hard to fill. In addition, there is an increasingly positive relationship between organizations planning to hire and finding positions harder to fill. There is also a consistent positive correlation between those organizations planning to hire and those using a recruitment agency. There's also an increasingly positive correlation between companies who experience separations and companies who provide training between 2015 and 2018. And an increasing correlation between finding positions hard to fill and companies who provide training between 2015 and 2018, with a significant jump in the last year. The next slide shows whether each region was higher or lower than average on each variable. A down arrow indicates that the region is below the average on that variable, and an up arrow indicates that the region is above the average on that variable. Note that the red arrows indicate a change in direction from 2017. This chart can be difficult to interpret given that some variables are positive and some are negative. For example, a down arrow on the hard-to-fill variable can be considered a good thing. So the next slide presents the same information, but presented in a different way. For the good variables, the up arrow becomes a plus sign. But for the negative variables, namely separation, using a recruitment agency, and finding positions hard to fill, the up arrow becomes a negative sign. This chart can be used to present an overall picture of each region. More plus signs for each region could be considered to be good news for that region. We can get a picture of each region by examining this slide in more detail. Again, the red signs indicate a change in direction from the 2017 findings. In conclusion, there are consistent trends overall, and by region, for several of the key variables over the 4-year period. We are currently working on analyzing the 2019 data. We would ask that you please cite this presentation with our permission. Please email us at the email addresses provided with any questions, feedback, or thoughts on interpretation of the findings. We look forward to hearing from you.